Hi everyone, welcome to another video. So today I have a really fun video for you guys today. I actually received in PR, so yay, I received in PR the Attack on Titan and Game Beauty collection. I had talked about this briefly in one of my makeup releases video that I wasn't really necessarily super sure that Attack on Titan was necessarily like something you could turn into a makeup collection, but I'm always open to trying things and having my mind changed. Also, as you can see today, my skin looks absolutely terrible. I had a couple days where I was so exhausted I could barely even barely even had the energy to brush my teeth, let alone do skincare. And as you can see, my actions do have consequences. So I also thought this would be a fun video to show you guys how I color correct when I'm a disaster. So I'm going to be using the Saem Triple Concealer. This is in the shade 03, and as you can see, I'm going to take some of the green. I really like this particular shade of green as opposed to a mintier green because it just looks so much better underneath foundation. So for example, here is I need to do a concealer roundup video because I have words about this product, but as you can see, this green here is a lot more pastel. When this released, I definitely much prefer using this, especially if you are olive. I think this will be a much better green corrector for you. If you are like so super duper pale that using this it's darker than you, then definitely use a lighter green. So I'm just gonna take this across everywhere that I need it, which is a lot of places. And then I'm going to just use my brush to blend it, and I don't need it to look fully covered up, so I'm going to blend the edges, and I'll also blend where it's laying on top of it because this is just color correcting, so I don't necessarily need like a giant lump of product to be covering anything. I just need the color to be corrected. And since my foundation is going to be going on top of this, I don't want it to be too thick because I don't want it to interfere with my complexion products. Might as well as just cover my whole nose in concealer, right? For my nose, I'll go ahead and use my sponge, just make sure it's a nice thin layer. Again, nice and thin, especially when I get to my nose area so that I can avoid any caking or creasing. And now you can see my redness is so much less prominent now that I've corrected for it. Obviously the really red spots are still going to show, and I'm not really going to be able to completely cover those up, but I was able to at least just make them a little bit less obvious. Like your eyes are not going to focus on them as much because it's so much more toned down now. So let me just get the last bits over here. The Saem actually does have, I saw on YesStyle, you can buy this green color in an individual pot, and it's only like, I think $5 or $6. So if you want to get something like this, but you're like, okay, but I only need the green, they do sell a single. So as you can see, I look so much better, even just with this color corrector. Look at the difference, and that's why I'm still trying to look for a good color corrector for my dark circles. I still feel like I haven't found one yet, but anyways, that's besides the point. So now I'm going to go into my Rare Beauty Under Eye Brightener, which this is probably the best under eye corrector I've come across. I did already put on primer, so I was using a primer that I really don't like, but at the same time I feel bad that I spent so much money on. So I use it occasionally just so I don't feel like I completely wasted my money, but also I should probably just sell it and be done with it. But anyways, I haven't actually used this on camera yet because despite getting the shade 0.3, it is so dark. I got this when it was half off, so I'm going to, this is the Tom Ford. Well, I need it would help if I shook it first. Shake your foundations. Don't be me. So as you can see here, it's too dark for me. So what I do is I have to mix it with a lighter product. So I'm going to be mixing it with a little bit of my white concealer. It's 0.3, so it confuses me. I don't know. I'm mildly confused at how it's too dark when it's 0.3, which I think is the second lightest shade on offer. It is a really nice matte foundation formula. I do really like it. I got it when it was half off, but the reason I know I like it is because I have received samples of it in the past, and I was like, oh my god, I love this so much, but it is so expensive that I didn't want to actually have to spend my money on it full price. But then of course when I got 0.3, I was like, shoot, it was too dark, because at the time that I was using the samples, I think I was a little bit more tan than I am now. The Architect foundation I'm supposing is meant to be the replacement for this. I know some people were thinking, oh, it's just going to be repackaged, it's not being discontinued, so it'll be brought back soon, so don't panic. But I think it's gone for good, and they replaced it with the Architect foundation, which I've heard is not as good. So plus that one is like $130. I mean, I think I'll pass. If I'm going to be spending that much money on a foundation, I think the only foundation I'm interested in investing in someday is Libre. But I also really like the Sucre foundation, so I don't know. I'm definitely a sucker for a real nice luxury foundation, but it has to be nice. Like, I'm not going to get a luxury foundation that looks terrible on my skin. I want it to have nice packaging, and I want it to have a nice finish. So anyways, as you can see, it is a high coverage matte foundation, and it just looks glorious on my skin. Truly one of my favorite foundations that I've ever used, but I just cannot believe that 0.3 is too dark for me. I'm confused. So next I'm going to conceal using the JX Professional Triple Concealer. The Saem's concealers are good. Like in terms of like actual like under eye concealers, I think the Saem's concealers are quite nice. I just always need like the fullest of full coverage, and I do find that the Saem, I can't quite cover everything up 100%. And as you can see, I don't even really feel like I need to spot conceal this because the foundation plus the color corrector really took out most of it, so I'm not going to put any more product on top of that. Okay, so I'm going to use eye primer. I do think these are probably going to be a little bit on the powdery side, so I'm going to try using the Fenty eye primer and see if that helps. I actually have the Game Beauty Fantasy palette. I just haven't had a chance to use it yet, and I don't know if it's still even available anymore, but I still do want to use it at some point. I just need to get off my butt and do stuff more often. Okay, and then I'm going to do my eyebrows, and I'm just trying to finish using my Too Faced brow pencil. I finished the brow pomade, so I'm gonna finish this pencil. I like it. I'm glad I did. Whenever I'm buying higher end brow products, I always wait for a sale. I don't really ever like to buy eyebrow products full price because that's a lot of money to shell out for a brow pencil. My brows are not coming together today. Okay, I'm gonna try and refine these very wobbly brows with my brow flick and see if that improves the situation. Okay, I think that looks a little bit better. These are not the best brows I've ever done, so. Okay, I'm going to use some powder. I cannot overstate how humid it has been today. It is absolutely disgusting, so I'm going to go in with my Flower Nose Flower Goddess setting powder. I don't think you can get this anymore. Okay, so I am going to go ahead and get started on the eyes, so I'll zoom you guys in just a little bit. I received the PR package. It's really, really pretty. As you can see here, there are 3 quads, 4 lip products. So I am going to use a combination of these quads. I haven't watched all of Attack on Titan, but I have watched a little bit of the first season, and I also know enough about the plot and the character arcs that I pretty much know the premise and the basis of the show, and it is very, very fascinating. But when I first saw the collab, I was like, I'm not sure how you would turn such a gritty anime into a colorful makeup collection. Like, it doesn't quite track, so I don't really feel like the colors match. I definitely view this more as like almost like merchandise as opposed to like a true through and through collab, just because like an Aaron lip gloss, you know, like I don't think Aaron wears this shade of lip gloss, you know. I'm pretty sure he just wears clear lip gloss, so and same with Mikasa. Well, maybe Mikasa wears that color lip gloss, you never know. I didn't buy the Persona 5 collection. Looking back on it, I kind of regret it, if only just to have the packaging, because I do like Persona 5, but I kind of felt the same way about that. I didn't feel like the colors really reflected the franchise, but the game itself, it's It's colorful in the sense of like there are a lot of like arc colors and color motifs, and especially in the user interface there's a lot of red, white, and black, but that doesn't necessarily mean you should make a Persona 5 collab have red, white, and black, you know what I mean? So I felt like, again, it was the same thing where it was more like merchandise for people who are big Persona fans as opposed to makeup that was inspired by Persona 5, because like Persona 5 is like, I don't really know how you translate that to a makeup collection, I'll be honest. So here is the Cena quad. And the art on it is very, very beautiful. I mean, you know, the brick wall and everything. It's quite nice. So this one is a little bit more of your traditional warm orange kind of quad. Then you have Maria right here. And this shade, this is more of a blue quad with a pop of a yellow. And then lastly you have Rose. This one almost gives off a sea beauty vibe. This is definitely kind of, if a Chinese beauty brand made a colorful palette, it would definitely look kind of something like this. So thank you very much to Game Beauty for sending this my way. I know I wasn't that great about showing off your elemental collection, so I'm very, very grateful. Thank you very, very much. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started. I think I'll use mostly synthetic brushes today. I think that should be fine. We'll see though. I think I'm going to first start off with this really dark shade here. And then I'm gonna go into the pastel shades, and I really want to try this shimmer shade. And then lastly, for the inner corner or for accent work, I really want to try this shade. I think that's what I'm going to do. Now, my experience with the green elemental palette, which was the only palette I actually got around to using, I know, and I was going to make videos using the other four and that just never happened, but the green one that I used, I honestly thought it was fine. The mattes were actually not super bad at all, and the shimmers look fine. But I have heard other people mention that the Persona collection mattes felt a little bit dry and hard pressed. I don't mind a hard pressed or drier shadow because those are going to have less kickback, less fallout, as long as it still can blend. Now I am using a Fenty eye primer. It's not set just because like I have such dry eyelids, and indie mattes in particular don't really seem to favor dry eyelids very well at all, so I have definitely learned over time that if I'm using indie shadows, I do need to hydrate and prep more than if I'm using, say, like Tom Ford creme. So that's why I used the Fenty primer, and I did use an eye cream underneath that. So the shadow is going to stick down somewhat, but in exchange it's actually going to build. So if the first layer is not blending out a lot, that kind of doesn't surprise me. I really like the ideas behind Game Beauty. First off, I just really didn't have the money. Like, I really want all of their palettes except for the first one that had the glitter. I really want all of them, I'll be honest, but I just have never had the money to. When I got the fantasy palette, I had just gotten approved for the affiliate code that I have, and they gave me a $40 off coupon, so I bought it essentially for just a few bucks, and I still really want to use it just to show my gratitude. But I haven't bought any of their other releases because the budget never came through, and these days my makeup budget is a lot smaller than it used to be even. It's really hard for me to keep up with all of these makeup releases. I really have to be pick and choose, because it's not like I only do indie makeup, right? Like, I also really like mainstream makeup, so I do have to kind of be a little bit careful about what I want to use. Why it would be nice, one of my goals this year is to try and get on more PR lists, but it's hard to do that. Like, you have to like make sure that you're producing a lot of content. I definitely need to grow more, and I need to like actually use what does get sent to me, because if I never feature what gets sent to me, then it's kind of a waste. So I'm thinking about doing a reel where I swatch these later. And I like actually for once do a swatch video. So it definitely feels dry and hard pressed in the pan, but as you can see, it actually laid down really nicely and it built up really well. I'm not complaining. Again, I'm using a tackier eye primer, but quite like how it looks. Next, I'm going to go into this green shade here. So like the mint and brown color scheme I do a lot, it's definitely gonna be rearing its head again here, but I want to see how this green performs. I want to see if it dries out my eyelid at all. I definitely do think the Fenty eye primer was the way to go with this one. I'm glad I made that choice. As you can see, the green is sticking to it. Very pigmented, nice opaque laydown. This is a little bit more saturated and has less white in it than your traditional pastel mint. So that's part of why it's showing up so well, is because it's not going to be as light and have as much white as a typical pastel mint, like what you would see in, say, the Odin's Eye Spring Dragon. Shades like this can still sometimes be prone to blending away, so I'm glad that this is, you know, you can see it. It is bright. Okay, and then I'm going to take a fluffy brush, this shade. This has a little bit of glitter in it. Pretty sure it's just gonna dust away. I'm not really the biggest fan of mattes with glitters, but I also just kind of put up with them. I don't have like a strong distaste for them. I don't like them, but I'll put up with it. And I want to use this to add a nice orange edge to the entire look. I don't want to like lighten up this dark brown though, so I'm trying to minimize the overlap. And yeah, you can see the glitter is sticking down to my skin. It's not the most flattering look. However you guys feel about mattes with glitters, this orange shade definitely is a matte with glitter, but there are no, the orange quad has two mattes with glitters. You can see the orange and the yellow, but then the blue quad has no mattes with glitters. So if I have a choice, I don't think I'd pick a matte with glitter, because I just really have yet to see a situation where it helped to have it, because I just lost an eyebrow hair. Half the time, because like you see how as I dusted it across the green, it dropped glitters, and now the green looks like it has glitter in it, and so now I lost the total matte. I feel like mattes with glitters are just prone to making it look like you didn't fully clean your brushes before you went into matte shadows. I'm not really the biggest fan of them. I've yet to have a situation where I actually was glad that it was a matte with sparkle. Like, I have yet to have a situation where I deliberately wanted a matte with sparkle for my look. I'm not out here being like, oh, I'm never gonna buy palettes if there's matte with sparkles. I just kind of begrudgingly deal with them. But if you don't like them, then definitely I'd say avoid the quads that have them. Ooh, these are blending so well. I was nervous just because of how dry and hard pressed they felt, but they are blending seamlessly into each other. Next, I want to try using this blue matte. I know I'm like running into a situation where it could start to get a little bit dangerous, because using this many mattes, not always a good idea. I'll take this blue shade here, and I'm going to put it in a very tight location. I want to put it just right here, and then I'll put a shimmer kind of over top. I want to see if I can get this to like build up, or if it's gonna just be kind of a bad blue. It's blending out good, but we'll see if I can get it to look more opaque. So I'm having trouble getting this to look opaque, but it looks smooth and even, and it blends. So I think that is not bad. And last I checked, these weren't terribly expensive. And I will be using a shimmer to unify all of this, don't worry. I am gonna go ahead and take the mint slash not so mint green. I'm gonna use this on the lower lash line. I don't take blues on my lower lash line, generally speaking, because they will pull very bruisey on me. And then I am going to take a little bit more of that dark brown and kind of add a little bit more depth back in, because right now it just looks like I put a green stripe under my lower lash line. Okay, yeah, it's really not bad. I'm liking how this is coming together. I do want to try and blend out the outer corner a little bit more. I'm just going to make sure that it's more seamless right here. So I really want to take the shade Chain now. So pretty. It looks like it's going to be a duochrome, and I'm going to use this on my eyelid. I'm going to use a brush because my hands are really sweaty for some reason. Ooh, yeah, it's pretty. It has a translucent base, so this is going to look really pretty on top of these mattes. The sparkles are very fine, and it is still, like, it's not a bad shadow by any means. It's not gonna like the stereotypical indie metallics just like exploding in your face. This is not gonna be that, but it's very, very delicate, and it doesn't feel oily or greasy at all, which is great. Yeah, that's quite nice, actually. Yeah, you can see the blue is really struggling to like make a name for itself there, but that's okay. And then I'm going to try that yellow. It looked almost like a lime or like a kind of like yellow with blue reflect. It looked really interesting. It's called Heart. I'm gonna make this my inner corner highlight for today. I think I want to take a little bit of the blue shimmer called Hope. I think that'll help make the blue come back a little bit. So I'm just going to take this and put it basically on top of where I put the blue earlier. Yeah, that looks a lot better. I felt like the green shimmer was kind of starting to look a little bit milky, like I put a little bit too much on. I'm gonna take that Chain shade on the lower lash line. It'll be really fun under there. Yeah, that looks nice. No complaints from me. And then I'm gonna take that Heart shade on the inner corner, as I always like to do. I feel like this shimmer, this yellow shimmer with the blue reflect, I feel like on top of the blue matte it's gonna look really cool, or on top of the brown shade Whole. If it was straight on top of that, it'd be such an interesting shift. Again, I'm not finding these to be like super pow, like these aren't like standing out particularly from other indie shimmers, but they are good and they're solid, and the mattes were easy to use. So if you are specifically wanting this because of the fact that it has Attack on Titan branding, then I don't think you'll be disappointed. I'm gonna go ahead and look this up online really quickly just because I'm wondering what prices are. That'll really help inform whether I think this is worth it. Okay, so the quads are $18 each. The glosses are $15 each. All the quads together is $49. The lip bundle is $55. The products without the PR box is $96, and the full set is $106. I think the lips might be a little bit overpriced. I think they should have been maybe like $2 to $3 less. The quads, I think $18 is really not that bad of a price. I like the look that I came up with. I think it's a lot of fun. So I'm gonna go ahead and go off camera to put on my false lashes, and then I'll be back. I'll finish the rest of my face of makeup, and then let's pick out one of these tinted glosses. Okay, my lashes are done, and as you can see, I have on doe lashes. I don't know what kind they are because they are just sitting in my crusty little lash case, and as you can see, the names of the lashes aren't in here. I'm going to take the Cupid's Arrow in the shade 2, and this is not necessarily like a waterline product because it's like, you know, it's very, you get a lot of playtime with it. It's more like a stick shadow. I still sometimes do use this anyways, so I'm just gonna pop this on the inner corners first. You see how that already helps a lot. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take it pretty much right where my lashes, at the base of my lashes. So as opposed to putting it in my waterline completely, I'm kind of also running it right on the edge of my lower lash line. I could probably benefit from a little bit of eyeliner out here, but I don't know if that's a good idea. Okay, I'm going to just try it and we'll see if I screw up this look or not. I just feel like when I have false lashes on, a little bit of eyeliner can really help. Okay, I went a little bit too long on this side compared to the other side, which is, it looks a little bit strange, but what I think I can do is I think I can probably take just a little bit of concealer. I don't know, I feel like this would be a good chance for me to play with something that I haven't had a chance to play with yet. I'm not sure if it's a good idea. These loose flakes I got from Dyvaroon Cosmetics with my Gloomy Gardens order, they feel like, you can see in the bottle, I feel like this is gonna work with this look. I don't know, I just feel like adding a little bit something extra. I really like how this actually has a little sifter. I have some flakies. I have a lot of flakies from Terra Moons that I received from somebody who wasn't using them. They just sent all of them to me. But as you can see, these have nothing. You open the pot and it's just, it's there. So if you were to spill it, Lord have mercy on your soul. And every time I open it, you know, I get it all over my fingers. But I really like that the Dyvaroon Cosmetics one actually comes with the cutest little sifter ever. It's so adorable. I thought these would be larger flakes like the Terra Moons ones, but it seems like it really is just like a loose pigment is what it really just feels like to me. So I don't even think I need a glitter glue, and I just am going to take this and put it across my eye look. I didn't realize that these were going to be such small particles that it's not like even like flakes. I thought they were I don't know why, but I thought they were being advertised as like these larger flakes, like the Terra Moons ones. But now that I know that these are actually much smaller particles, I really want to go back and buy the rest. Oh my gosh, this is so pretty, and it doesn't, and because of the small particle size, I don't need to use glitter glue, and it's easy, and you can see the particles are still a little bit larger than what you would consider for like if it was like a pressed shadow. The particles are still a little bit on the larger side, so they're really pretty. I like this. Okay, I'm glad I decided to go ahead and use that, and the little sifter really is so practical. Ooh, I'm so excited. I want to buy more of those now, and I definitely need to remember to use them more often. So I am going to now move on to the cheeks. Now I think for the blush it'll be good for me to kind of use the orange as a jumping off point to pick the color. And I think I have the perfect color. I really want to use this from my YesStyle order, the Tony Moly. These are like the cheek tone blushes, or like the jelly blushes. I'll have the name because the name on the packaging is in Korean, so I can't tell you, but the English name, you can find the English name. It's for sale on Olive Young Global. These are really cool. So you have the product here, which is apparently it's kind of a hybrid of like a powder and a cream. But what's really fun if you are like needing to like bring this with you, or if you're traveling, or if you just want to have an easy, convenient application, is you can take the bottom off and you have a puff. And I've heard this puff is actually pretty good. And I'm just gonna apply this very broadly because this is a pretty light color. Ooh, that is so pretty. And like I saw multiple channels reviewing this with just glowing reviews across the board. It's sold out on Olive Young Global. I heard it sold out in Korea a couple times as well. I feel like Tony Moly used to have a reputation for having extremely cheap products. Their products aren't necessarily cheap anymore. These were, I believe I paid probably like what, $12 to $14 for each of these. I got two. So definitely not what I would consider like the ultra cheap K-beauty anymore, but there are very few brands that are doing that anymore. Prices are up across the board. I'd say the saem is kind of one of the few that's still doing cheaper products, but even then, some of their products, like their new balm foundation, was retailing on Olive Young for like $30 or something. So if you think that's a little bit expensive for Tony Moly's brand reputation, I can see where you're coming from, but I feel like Tony Moly has really started to make a comeback with new packaging, a new brand image. I know all the K-beauty brands are kind of trending towards becoming just minimal and same, like you can see the packaging is the same color, and like the font is very minimal, and it's just all very minimal. Like every single brand is doing that these days, but I think it looks fine. And I think the font being a little bit more bubbly, you can still kind of see the original kind of funky spirit that Tony Moly used to have. I'm glad to see Tony Moly back. They honestly kind of feel borderline like a completely new brand to me, which I think probably wouldn't surprise me if that was intentional, but I have been really enjoying this formula. As you can see, it's very soft. It builds up nicely. The pigmentation is definitely on the lighter side, so it's very easy to control. I think I need a little bit more blush. Is it just me? I think with this foundation color, it's not like working out the greatest. I like the formula though, but I think I need something a little bit darker. I'm gonna use the coral color from the Prisme blush, Prisme Libre. I've been pronouncing it wrong my whole life apparently, because I was like Prisme Libre, which I'm sure makes me sound like an idiot, so I'm just not even bothering. I'm just like, it's the loose blush from Givenchy. I'm gonna just use a really tiny brush though, so that I have the precision. The Tony Moly one did mattify my skin quite a bit though, so it's not gonna like be super pigmented on me, because there's not anything left for this blush to stick to, but I think just a little bit more color will help with this look. Yeah, do you see how just a little bit more injection of color there really helped? And I do find the loose blush formula from Givenchy to be really nice and kind of one of a kind. The only other loose blush that I have in my collection that I even am aware of existing is the Bare Minerals one. There's also the Jaclyn Cosmetics ones, but those are glowy and they're also no longer available. Loose blushes are not really a thing, but I feel like they need to be because they're so pretty. So that is the blush. I was able to add more color with the Givenchy blush. That looks way better now. I feel like it matches my eye look. You can see it a little bit better. Okay, and then I do want to use some kind of bronzer on the outer parts of my face. So I totally forgot When I was talking about, oh, there's rosy tone bronzers I want, but I haven't gotten them because I don't have money, I was like, wait, hold on. And then a commenter was like, have you tried the Phytosurgence one? And I was like, I literally forgot that I had this. I'm gonna use my Phytosurgence bronzer in 2 Rosy Daybreak. This bronzer, it's like a cream formula, but it is a lot drier than you would expect. I'm just gonna put a little bit on my chin. I want to put on some highlighter, and I think actually it'll be really fun for me to use a mint highlighter just because I have so much of the green shimmer across my eyelids. So again, this also came from my YesStyle haul. This is my lilybyred Love Beam Gold Glow Veil. This is from their tennis themed collection. It's such a cute little collection, and as you can see, it is a very pale green highlighter. It's in the shade 05. I don't usually go for Korean highlighters because they can be very chalky, and if they're not chalky, they are just really dim and don't show up and look really bad. But this one really caught my eye, and there are a ton of new highlighters coming out all of a sudden, like Espoir, Desique, and Holika have both. All 3 of them have released highlighters, and all 3 of them do have like a pink shade, a purple shade, and or a champagne shade. Like all 3 of those brands released highlighters in the same colors, and it kind of feels like we're starting to see like next gen highlighters. Para just released some with their cream soda collection, so I almost feel like we're starting to see the next generation of K-beauty highlighters that are a little bit more intense, that are like look a little bit less like garbage, and I'm interested to try them. So obviously we'll have to see how my money goes, but they look absolutely beautiful, especially the Desique and the Espoir ones. The Holika ones thankfully did not look terribly expensive because it's just an extension of their piece matching range, which at this point is huge. That's why I decided to go ahead and take the plunge and try this, and it looks really nice. Of course you can see it's going to emphasize texture, but I can definitely see the green. We can all start paying attention to K-beauty highlighters now because we're not gonna get nothing. Like, if anybody remembers the olden days, you tried a Korean highlighter and you're like, wow, that's worthless. But like this, it shows up, it looks good. I think it's time that Korean highlighters have a time in the spotlight, because I'm ready for Korean highlighters to be amazing. There is a non-zero chance I put on a little too much highlighter on this cheek. I went a little bit crazy, okay? Okay, so I don't mind doing swatches of lip products because I don't really mind putting them on like the heel of my hand or anything like that. So I will go ahead and quickly swatch these for you guys. So this is Erin, and you can see the character art right here. And they do have a soft vanilla scent. These don't feel quite as watery as a traditional like Korean lip gloss. They feel a little bit more like there's a little bit more oil to it, so it feels a little bit more Western in that regard, but we'll see. This is Mikasa. Sorry, that was so crooked, what the heck. I think that might be the one that I used this time. The next shade is Levi. I know some people say that he's Erin's husband. That's fine by me. I'm pretty much allergic to heterosexual shipping, so that's fine. This one is a lot lighter, and it has some shimmer to it. I think you can tell, I don't know if you can tell, but this Levi has shimmer, the other 2 do not. Armin looks like it's gonna be either super light or super sheer or both. Okay, yeah, this one almost reads like a sheer, like I'd use this as like a topper. And again, this one does also have shimmers in it. So the 2 that have shimmers, I could see myself using them as toppers. They kind of have like a milkiness to them. I don't know how flattering that's gonna look on me. As opposed to forming a film, this is why I like to swatch glosses and tints on the heel of my palm. Do you see how these 2 shades are kind of almost bleeding into the lines of my skin? That tells me that this is not gonna necessarily form a film. It might emphasize and sink into my lines a little bit. So that usually to me is kind of a warning sign. Obviously we don't judge based on swatches, but the bleeding here is very interesting because some of my favorite Korean dewy tints, they're not going to bleed, they just kind of form a glossy smooth film, almost like a self-leveling nail gel. It doesn't seem like these are meant to leave a stain behind, which some people like it when they stain, some people hate it when they stain. I'm going to go in with Incognito because I'm using something that's a little bit more on the orange side. Oh, and I forgot to mention, if I had any of the Game Beauty Elemental highlighters, I definitely would have used the green one, but I don't have any of those. Those did not get sent to me. I only got the palettes. Okay, so I'm going to take Mikasa. Yeah, it feels less watery and more like oily. You can see as I'm spreading it out on my lips, I can sheer it out really nicely, so it's not gonna, you can like make it look a little bit more like a lightly pigmented gloss if you wanted to. The applicator is easy enough to use. So that is one layer, nice and sheer. So you can see with the way it catches shine, do you see how the shine on my lips, it has a lot more texture, like you can see my lip lines, my lip texture in the shine. Usually like a thicker Korean water tint would form a film over all of that, leaving behind much more of a glassy appearance, so this is definitely not that. But it still feels really comfortable. It's not sticky. It almost kind of feels more akin to like a thinner version of the Lunar Beauty glosses, if any of you guys have ever tried those. That's kind of what it's like reminding me of first off the bat, or like a really thin, like a thinner variant of like a lip oil or something is kind of what it's feeling like. The color is really pretty. On my hand it definitely swatched more opaque because I really like laid on with the applicator, but you can see spread across my lips it is a little bit more sheer. I could probably build up more layers if I wanted to, but I don't want it to necessarily turn too much of a red orange because, you know, I just want it to mimic the orange of my blush, the orange of my eyeshadow, so this level of opacity is enough for me. I don't want to go any further than that. But lastly, I want to see if I can top off with one of these glosses. So I think I'm going to go in with Levi. Let's see if I can add a little bit of sparkle. I'm going to focus this on the outer part of my lips. I feel like applying it like this, you can barely see the sparkles. This one is a little bit too pigmented to use as a topper almost. You can kind of see. I don't know if you can necessarily see the sparkles on camera. The two of them aren't mixing very well. You can kind of see the line where they don't want to like blend into each other. This is when like you start applying too much, you get lipstick on your teeth. This happens to me all the time. Okay, I was able to make the middle a little bit darker. Although now it's like I kind of run the risk of it getting stringy. It is so humid. I mean, I have the AC at 75 because I just don't want to like run up my AC bill into the sky, but God, it's so humid. It's so sticky everywhere. It is so bad today. And my phone said tomorrow it's going to be 90. Like, so I'm going to leave my hair up because my hair is a mess. I wish I could be that YouTuber with the color coordinated outfit and the fabulous looking tops, but that is not me yet. This will be the final look. My footage is on the darker side of things, so and then I edit it in post. I'm still really trying to mess around, so I got so fed up with my camera, I kind of returned back to the normal settings, but then I just changed the color of my lights. I actually do quite like my makeup today, humidity notwithstanding, and I enjoyed everything. The lip products I'm not quite as on board with because they are $15 each, and I believe something like a Lunar Beauty lip gloss is what, like $18? I know I said I don't buy from Lunar Beauty right now, but I still find their prices to be a good benchmark to compare to, because compared to a lot of other brands, especially influencer brands that have really tight packaging and concepts, I think Lunar Beauty's pricing is among the most fair that I've run into. And so their lip glosses are actually $17, which is less than I was expecting. Their lip oils are $18, which, by the way, their lip oils are quite nice. I wish I could buy from them so badly. It hurts my heart that I can't buy from them. And their liquid lipsticks are $18. So they are only $3 more than these products from Game Beauty, which are $15, and I think these are slightly overpriced. I'm going to be completely honest. I feel like I would rather, like, if I was going to buy these and pay $15 each and get this kind of result, I would feel kind of a little bit disappointed. I think these would have been much more fair and much more worth it if they had been $12 or $13. I don't like dunking on small brands too much, but I also am not gonna lie and say I like something when I don't. I think they're okay, but when I think about other lip glosses and lip tints in my collection that I pay around $15 for, I just feel like those are better. But that's just kind of my opinion. If you want something similar to these and you want like the nicer quality, if you don't mind supporting Lunar Beauty, these remind me the most of Lunar Beauty's glosses and lip oils. That I don't know why, but that is just what I think of when I see these. The other thing that they kind of remind me of just a little bit are actually the NYX glosses, the butter glosses, and the This Is Milky glosses. I'm not sure why, but I'm also getting these vibes from them. They feel kind of similar. So I feel like you can find similar for less, although NYX's prices are kind of getting up there too. Lastly, I think they're a little bit similar to the L'Oreal Balmain glosses as well. I feel like those products are kind of what I'm getting flashbacks to when I'm using these. So I think they're fine, and the sparkly ones are definitely a lot of fun, but I wish that they were more sheer, or that there was actually a clear version with the sparkle so that I could use it properly as a topper, because I don't look good in milky lip shades. I'm just saying that right now. I don't look good in them unless I prep for them specifically. I have the Romand ones that are super milky and light, and I use those in conjunction with other shades. Like, I can't use it on its own. I also found that when I tried to use it with the Mikasa shade, they didn't mix. And you can see now that I've been talking for a few minutes, you can kind of see how Mikasa, the orange streaks in my lips, how it settled into my lip lines, just like how it settled into the heel of my hand. So again, I think if you're gonna get these, I actually think the sparklier ones would be more worth it, because those are more unique. If you like that they have a little bit of a nude tint to them, a sheer nude, like light brown, light nude tint to them, then I think you will find those two to be really fun. So that would be, I think it's like Levi and Armin, I think were the two. I think these would be the most worth it actually, but these two I feel formula wise are not quite hitting it for me. They're not as good as the Espoir ones, and the Espoir ones aren't the best. So overall, I think this collection is fine. If you are an Attack on Titan lover, I think you're gonna love this collection just because the packaging is on point. When it comes to collabs, I feel like it looks a little bit cheapened when all they do is take official art and put it on the packaging. So as you can see here, this is just official art that got put on the packaging. But with the brick wall and with the cardboard, it somehow still looks fine. Like, it still somehow feels nice. It looks nice. Even like I think the cardboard packaging actually was a good choice in this case. Like, thinking back to, like, for example, the most ColourPop collabs, it's just like official art just plastered onto the product. It's like, I saw the Pokemon collab reveal and the palette just like leaves me feeling like something is missing. Like, it leaves much to be desired. Even though this is using official art, I'm not getting that feeling. Something about this just feels really nicely put together. And I think especially with the quads, I like how the official art used were these emblems. And also, okay, I'm gonna tell you guys, I think that this was such a genius move. It is purely packaging, so it's purely aesthetic, but I love how the overall color theme of the quad, you can see it on the side. I think that just takes the packaging of these quads to the next level. It just somehow really elevates it, makes it just look so much more expensive than it actually was. I don't know why, but something about the fact that they chose to make sure you could see the color on the side, it just really just adds to the overall design appeal of these quads. So I think if you were gonna get anything from this collection, you're an Attack on Titan lover, you want to get something just so that you have like a little piece of the Attack on Titan collab. If you're not gonna get the whole thing, I think going for one of the quads would probably be your best bet as opposed to the lip products. But if you want to get the lip products, I would say go with your favorite character first, obviously, because get something that you like, or if you want something that's actually a little bit more unique, then go for Levi or Armin. But that'll be my thoughts. And just so that you guys can see it really quickly one last time, here is the full box art. If you guys wanted to get this, you're gonna have to pay the money to get the whole bundle, but this is the box art, and you can see on the back there is the product information, and the inside is where all the stuff was stored, and there is more art on the inside as well. And I put the boxes that the quads came in back in. So I hope this video helps you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this. The Diva Rune Sparkle I really like. The tonymoly blush I really like the formula of. I think this color I'm going to use more to blend out other things though. It was a little bit lighter than I expected. And the lilybyred highlighter totally surprised me. I'm like all in on Korean highlighters now, but I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you guys have any questions about anything, of course you're welcome to ask me. And I think with that, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to catch you guys in the next one. Bye bye!